Welcome to a new daily top Askreddit video. Today's topic.
What's the scariest disease you've heard of? Rabies. Fuck that. Edit. How the fuck did I get 10,000 upvotes for a 3-word comment that no effort went into? There are some genuinely talented people out there. Upvote them instead. My dad was telling me about his time in the military. He was serving in Vietnam and a guy got bit by monkey. Another guy was making fun of him because he was going to have to go through getting all the shots. The guy that had been bitten got so pissed and the guy mocking him that he bit him, so now they would both have to get the shots. That's fucking hilarious in the most dark humor of ways. You can go a very long time without knowing that you have it, and by the time you figure it out it's too late. Yes. If it is symptomatic, it has a 0% survival rate. Dementia, and because you basically sit back and watch as it slowly starts to eat away at you. But there's nothing you can do. My grandma has dementia and it's very sadly zombifying her slowly over the years. From early symptoms like short-term memory loss, to misunderstanding and violence, and finally to forgetting her own situation and lifestyle. Once you've seen a loved one experiencing the whole cycle, it's a very dreadful disease that rob away the mind and quality of life. If I ever go down that route, I prefer to take euthanasia. Else, you just get to chill while your body starts to fail you. You become more and more of a burden to those around you. Slowly lose the ability to walk, feed yourself, bathe. Then one day you can't get up at all. Then you can't talk. You barely move your head at all, but you can't still think. You can see your family suffering, watching you slowly deteriorate. It's a nightmare for all involved. I have Parkinson's. My friend came to visit me when I first got diagnosed a few years ago. He mentioned he tripped over a loose paving stone on my path and he joked about it. Less than 3 years later he was dead from ALS. ALS makes Parkinson's look like a mild inconvenience. The way you described ALS just reinforced my fear of that disease. Hope you're doing alright these days, buddy. A friend of mine got some serious PTSD after watching her father die from ALS. She's been in therapy for years working through it. It's a disease I don't wish on anyone, either as victim or loved one. My dad also died from ALS and I too have serious PTSD from it. The whole experience left me a major hypochondriac, to the point of debilitation sometimes. It's truly a horrifying experience for everyone involved. Locked-in syndrome, fully conscious but can only move your eyes. Just fucking locked inside your own body with your mind. Ever read The Diving Bell and the Butterfly? It's a memoir by a guy with locked-in syndrome, written while he had it. Thanks to a Herculean effort from his nurse, he was able to write by blinking at the right time as she pointed at individual letters on a board. It's a fascinating book, and a triumph of human tenacity. Edit. I was mistaken. It wasn't his nurse, but a ghostwriter sent by his publisher. Still an incredible effort and story. They wrote a book by him blinking. That is insane. I mean, he had nothing better to do, given the circumstances, but damn. Darkness. Imprisoning me. Absolute horror. I cannot live. I cannot die. Trapped in myself. Body is my holding cell. Landmine. Has taken my sight. Taken my speech. Taken my hearing. Taken my arms. Taken my legs. Taken my soul. Left me with life in hell. My hypochondriac ass should not be reading this. I think Google has contacted emergency services for me, with all the Google searches I just made. I went to a Clue-themed party one time, and I had to tie a noose for the party, setting aside how careful I had to be about exactly where I placed it for other reasons. I Googled, how to tie a noose, and the first hit on Google for that search is the suicide prevention hotline. Alzheimer's disease, with memories effectively making you who you are to a certain degree. I can't begin to imagine losing them all, and not knowing who my family is. I really hope one day there will be a cure for Alzheimer's and it will be on that list of old-timey. Oh my god, they all had what? Quote. Diseases with leprosy and smallpox and bubonic plague and polio, where it belongs. It honestly just feels too awful to be a real, common thing in the 21st century. The hard part is when you are in your 60s like I am and you are fully aware that your memories are fading. After a point, you are too far gone to know that you are too far gone. CJD. Prions scare the fuck out of me. Had a relative die of this. Took 4 weeks from diagnosis. She was in her 60s and went on holiday. Started to feel faint and couldn't remember who she was, and then in 4 weeks, gone. It's nasty. It's usually so low on the list of potential diagnoses that by the time you start to think it might legit be CJD, the person's already mentally wasted away and are a shell of their former self. Not that an earlier diagnosis would change anything anyway. I have a coworker who talks about eating squirrel brains and I'm just gobsmacked he thinks there isn't a risk of prions or anything else. Eating human brains would be higher risk behavior. Since rabies has already been mentioned, HACE, or high-altitude cerebral edema, particularly on deadly mountains like Everest. The idea that you get so confused and disoriented that some people just step off a ledge. Or undress because they feel warm and die from hypothermia scares the hell out of me. Once you get it, there's no way to get down by yourself and no one can help you. Similar thing happens to divers at low depths. If they don't have the right air mixture, they basically get really drunk underwater to the point they pass out, start swimming deeper thinking it's the way up, or even take out their mouthpiece to breathe. Our good old nitrogen narcosis.